The Last of Us Part 2. Oh boy. The Last of Us Part 2. Ah. It's a game. I'll give it that much. So, before we actually get in and start this review, I want to throw a couple things out there. First things first, I am a really, really big fan of The Last of Us Part 1. I loved it. It was such a good time. The story was excellent and all that jazz. So I want to be fully transparent here. I was really excited for this game. This game I had really high expectations for. Then, believe it or not, it got leaked and spoiled. Now, I wasn't spoiled, but everybody else was spoiled. And then my friends were like, oh, this isn't the best game, and all this other kind of stuff. And then I've read, like, people were really, really disappointed with it. And then I got really, like, upset. Not, like, because people were trashing the game, but because the game wasn't going to be as good as I wanted it to be. And then I played it. And here I am. So the first things first, really big fan of the game. Or of the first game. Second thing second, my expectations were really high, and then they were brought really low. So I'm kind of in the middle now, right? I'm not gonna be fanboying out here. And third things third, I'm gonna get this out the way right now. I do not hate this game. I really don't. Like at all. Okay. No, I really don't hate this game at all. I'm gonna get into my points. I'm not here to bash on the game, to shit on the game, to do any of that kind of stuff. What I'm here for is to give my opinion on the things that I really liked, which there are a few. Some things that I really didn't like, which there are a few, and the big thing that is really disappointing to me. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna cover is graphics and music. Okay, because these two I think are some of the stronger points of this whole game. This isn't going to be super long. There's not much I really have to talk about here. We'll start with the graphics. I'm not a big graphics guy personally, but I do really respect and appreciate the hard work and dedication that the team puts in, and especially here. Everything that I've seen in this game, at least from my own personal experience, has been A1. Okay, very rare pop-in or very rare glitches. For me, like I said, all the animations are hands down some of the best that I've seen. From when Elliot or Abby is like killing people, their face is just so believable. It is crazy how much like I can feel them like killing somebody. And I don't know how good that is, but that's what I got from that. But not only that, when you're upgrading your gun, every upgrade had a different animation, and every weapon had a different like pulling out and stuff like that, how you unloaded the gun and for upgrading. I really, really appreciated those small details. So those did not go unmissed. So with that, like the animation, the graphical ingenuity, the art direction, the whole 9 yards, that I'm probably missing about a lot of stuff, but the animation is just so good. So that's probably one of the best things for me. Music, on the other hand, I could take it or leave it. The music was okay. I mean, the guitar stuff was really nice when Ellie or Joel was playing the guitar while they were singing. It was good. But other than like a few classic tracks that were maybe even remixed a little bit, I don't really remember much about the music. It was okay. That's what all I gotta say about the graphics and music. Graphics, A1, very nice. Music was like a C. It wasn't bad, wasn't good, didn't really remember it. Gameplay. Alright. Now, this I think is probably the most solid part of the whole game. Okay? Actually playing it. It was a lot of fun to play. The new enemies. Okay? The new enemies were crazy cool. Right? I hated and loved the stalkers. They were a love-hate relationship for sure. Right? I really like their gimmicks. So that way, like when you're moving around, you can't hear them with your listen mode. So you really have to use your real boy ears or your real girl ears to find them, and then they sneak up on you, and I hate it, but I love it. The Shamblers, they were okay. They were a lot of fun to deal with. They weren't like bloaters or anything like that. That Rat King thing, Behemoth thing that Abby had to fight, that was the coolest. That was my absolute favorite. I wish there were more memorable boss fights like that. That was that was a lot of fun to deal with. Really scary. Got chills up my spine. The gunplay was phenomenal. I was such a bad shot throughout the whole game. I missed like every other shot. But that didn't mean that was more me. I felt like that was more of my fault than it was the game's fault. I felt like the game was very like, you upgrade, get better, and your shooting gets better and stuff like that. But the shooting was really tight. The combat. Now, Ellie did not have as much punch as Joel did in the first game. When you were fisticuffing with Joel, you were beating somebody's head against the wall. It felt so good. But not really with Ellie, unfortunately. With Abby, on the other hand, dude, Abby does pull-ups for fun, like while she's eating breakfast, right? She is jacked, right? It's absolutely crazy how much she can actually, like, how strong she is. And fighting as her is the funnest because her whole character is like being around a soldier, right? So when she's fisticuffing, she's body slamming, curb stomping, just bare knuckle brawling. It is the best and most fun to fight as her. So I got more Joel vibes from Abby than I did from Ellie. Ellie had some cool stuff too, like how she had her knife the whole time. I like that carryover. Stab and slice, and she used that a lot. But really the fighting fun comes from Abby. Now, the usables. The usables like trap mines, the Molotov cocktails, and stuff like that, those were fun to use, but there were some that I felt weren't necessary. Like the smoke bombs, and I don't think I used one of them. The pipe bomb I used when it was like convenient. Like I remember throwing it through a crack in a ship, but that was about it. To like blow up a lot of enemies. The only ones I really remember, like the ones that I remember using the most, was the Shiv, the Molotov cocktail, trap mines on occasion. I used it more than I did the other things, and the health kits. Those are the really only ones I remember. I like the idea of crafting ammunition. Well, the arrows, and like the explosive shells and like the hunting rifle or the hunting pistol. Ammunition. I really enjoyed crafting that kind of stuff. I like that resource management. So that was really good. But I feel like they could have made more useful things or really made it a challenge to use. One thing that I really did like though was the poppin' pills to get better scenario. I don't think it sends a really good message to kids. Just take drugs and all of a sudden you'll learn new things. You'll trip out, right? And boom, you'll learn. I don't think that's a necessarily positive message to send, but I do like how I felt like every single thing was useful, and if it wasn't, it was leading to something that was necessary. So you really had to pick and choose your battle, and that's something that I really, really enjoyed. I don't know if you could unlock everything by the end of the game, but I really did enjoy how you had to like really decide what you needed in the moment, and or future-proof yourself. Be like, this is going to be useful later. One thing I really didn't like was that you had to find manuals throughout the game and how it could potentially be missable. I don't think that's very fair, but I mean, all in all, I really did enjoy that mechanic of trying to pick and choose those kinds of stuff. The collectibles are okay. I mean, I didn't really care one way or another about the cards or the coins. If you like that kind of stuff, you know, I've never been a completionist, so if I find it, I find it. If I don't, I don't. Doesn't really matter to me. But overall, this is most definitely the best. This was like the best part of the whole game for me, was the actual game itself, which is important, right? If I put the story aside, and don't worry, we'll be picking it back up in a second. But if we put the story aside and I just played the game just for the gameplay, it's a lot of fun, and I would most definitely play through it again. So, yeah, the gameplay, definitely a lot of fun. Now, the story. Alright, guys. We're talking about story now. So, spoilers. Obviously. Can't talk about the story aspect of this game without actually spoiling the story, right? So if you don't care, or if you don't care about spoilers, come join me on this journey. If you do care about spoilers, jump to either a time code that I put up here or a link in the description, and you can skip right to like my final thoughts and conclusion and stuff like that. Okay, so story. Let's talk about it. So the story does something at the very beginning of the game that didn't surprise me, but it really made me upset, and like not in a good way, as they killed off my favorite character, Joel. Why? Why'd you kill Joel, man? I mean, I get it. I know. I'm not against killing awesome, badass characters for story progression and stuff like that. I think it makes it more interesting. But I really hate that they killed him. And the way that they did it, I think they handled it really poorly. But we'll get into that a little bit later. I just wanted to get that off my chest right off the bat. You guys know spoilers are coming now. They killed Joel. And I'm not happy about it. Damn it. Hold on. Damn it. Can I say that any more monotone? I wonder. Now, I'm not going to do a recap of the story, but I do want to talk about some things that I did like about the story and the things that I didn't like about the story. Okay? So I'll start with the good stuff. Right? Good stuff is always good. I really liked Abby and her crew. A lot more than I was expecting. Even though she killed Joel at the beginning, and all that kind of stuff. I actually, once I got to play as her and I actually started to realize who she was and why she did what she did, was just because Joel killed her dad, who was going to do the surgery on Ellie, to make the cure. I understood her motivation. I understood why she wanted to kill Joel, why she hated him so much. And I could sympathize with her, and the only reason why I do sympathize with her is because I know if the roles were reversed, I know Ellie would do nothing but pursue the guy or the person who killed her father, right? Or Joel, which is kind of what she does in this game. They're very paralleled. They're basically the same characters, just one's better than the other. But I also believe that another thing that I really liked was Abby's character. Abby as a character is really strong, solid. Even though, like I said, I didn't really like her at the beginning because she did kill Joel. Once I got to play as her, I really started to like her a lot more. Her interactions with everybody, like Manny and Mel and Owen and all that kind of stuff. I felt were very believable. I don't know. I just believed Abby's character a lot. I felt she was a real person with real emotions. I also really liked Lev. He was a nice, welcomed companion that the game I feel like really needed towards its back half. And I like Lev for what he brought, and his sister. I like what his sister did, shot Isaac. But yeah, overall, I really liked Abby and her band of misfits. But Abby's side isn't the only thing that I liked. I liked everybody. Dina I really liked. I feel like she had I felt she was really believable too. I liked her relationship with Ellie at times. I liked Tommy. I really liked just everybody. Jesse, I really came to like Jesse. And I feel like the only character that I really didn't like that was so important that I did like was Ellie. Ellie is somebody I have a problem with character-wise. Now, like I said, I loved The Last of Us Part 1. I loved Ellie's character in The Last of Us Part 1. She really did feel like a child who really needed help, right? Especially because when that game came out, came out in 2013. I was the same age as Ellie. I think she was 14, right? So I could relate to her on that level. And then when I got older and replayed the game, I could also relate to Joel a little bit more, even though I'm not like a father, but like from like a more adult perspective. It's like, oh, this is a child who needs help, right? So that was really cool for me, but I believed her as a character. Ellie now, I don't really feel like she's grown like at all, right? Like, she's still really cold, she's really mean. Like, I understand why she's being mean, like what her whole deal is, but I think it's kind of almost unwarranted at times. Like, she's targeting people who like had nothing to do with anything, right? Like Mel, Owen, like she killed them. Who's the doctor in the hospital that she tortured? I can't remember her name, but she did that to her to find Abby, and Abby just kind of looked around, found Joel, and let everybody else associated with Joel live, right? Because she didn't want to be as bad as Joel. That was one of my biggest questions that made sense to me, right? So, like, who's really the bad guy in that situation? I felt it really hard to connect with Abby, or with Ellie, like I did with Abby. Also, I connected way more with Dina and all that kind of stuff. Now, that wasn't to say that there was nothing that I could connect with Ellie on. Like, with her relationship with Dina, like, I felt the really real fear that when Jesse came back to the theater, like, unannounced, she, like, started to take care of him, like, a lot. Like, uncharacteristically a lot. And I thought Dina was going to bounce back to Jesse because she's pregnant with his kid. They're going to be together. That's what I thought. Didn't end up happening because they fucking shot Jesse right in the head. And so I really related to Ellie on that. I could also understand her rage towards Abby, but I felt like after Abby beat her ass in and then spared her life, like I thought she was going to be good with that. But then she wanted to go kill her again. And however, if Ellie was the only problem that I had with the story, it really wouldn't be so bad, right? Because there's a lot of really good characters. There's a lot of things in this game that's weird. I feel like, so you know, like, I feel like if they got all of like the script, right, for like the acts and the scenes, and someone just hit random, boom, and it just shuffle, and then just like a slot machine went, and it was just like, okay, this is the order the game is in. I would believe you if you told me that, because the game feels like it's told so out of order. It's really jarring. For example, during Ellie's first part, we kill a bunch of Abby's friends whilst we're searching for her, right? Which makes sense. We gotta find the person who's responsible for killing our favorite character, our favorite dad, right? But then after Abby like shows up at the theater, we switch over to Abby's perspective 3 days ago, meet all of her friends and like start to get to know them. But why would I care? Why should I care? I just killed them like 4 or 5 hours ago, right? I know what happens to them. I know how they die. I know they die soon. So why should I care, right? And they really tried to push Owen onto us as someone we should really care about. And I liked him as a character, but I would have liked him more. I would have been invested more in the relationship had I not known that he was dead in present time. Right, because all of this is basically one big ass flashback. It's just all in the past. So I don't really care about Mel. I really don't care. I don't care that Abby and Mel have problems because Mel is dead. Right? That's the long and short of it. Oh, they never really could reconcile. Oh well, right? And just a lot of stuff like that, right? I really feel like they misused Joel a lot. Right, and that's one of my biggest problems with Joel and his character and how they used it in this game, is they used him well in flashbacks for Ellie, but it's like they were trying to reestablish their relationship when their relationship was already established. I really like the idea that Ellie found out about Joel's lie and how she really couldn't forgive him for it. But we didn't really spend a lot of time with Joel trying to reconcile that throughout the years. We got their relationship and that, oh my god, they love each other and they're doing so well. And then we find out that Ellie knows, and then boom, we don't really come back to Joel until the end of the game. But I, as a person or as a player, don't really care that much, because like as far as I know they're fine, but they aren't fine, but that isn't conveyed clearly until the end of the game. So I really don't care, right? Because obviously Ellie cares about him enough, even though she knows he lied to her, to hunt down and kill all of these people for him, right? So there's really false tension there. Not saying that that they couldn't have been done well, they just didn't do it well. There's a lot of great ideas in this game. So many good ideas that could have made this game an easy 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 in terms of story. But everything was told out of order, or it was handled half-assly, and it didn't really hit or punch. It sucks because I really love Joel and Ellie. And they really could have made that, like his death and like her pursuit, really, really strong and like a really like conflicted thing. Another thing that I really did have a problem with was Lev at the end of the game. Not necessarily that he did anything wrong, it's just he didn't really do anything. It wasn't anything on his part, it was just the writers didn't use him at all. I thought Lev was gonna wake up and say, please don't kill Abby, when Ellie was drowning Abby, but he just stayed unconscious the whole time. I also don't like how Abby didn't get like a closure thing. We don't know what happened to Abby, and I feel like she was just as much a main character as Ellie, but it is what it is. Another issue that I have with Joel is they really forced his ending scene on us, like, you know, Abby playing the guitar with her 2 fingers and then leaving it and going away. Like I said, I didn't really care about that until, like, I didn't really care about that at all. Not even until. I didn't really care about it because it was just one of those things, or it was like, it was at the end of the game, there's nothing we can do now, right? I didn't have enough time for that to marinate, to fester. I didn't feel like I lost out on a relationship. Overall, I really agreed more with Abby than Ellie, with what she was doing and how she was doing it, which, I mean, would be great if the main character was Abby, but she's really not. So I'm just really disappointed by it. I really think that if they rearranged the story in just a different way, it could have been a lot better. I am just some dude on the internet though, so I mean, take it with what you want. Yeah, that's really it for the story. In conclusion, I did like this game. That's the long and short of it. I was just really disappointed by the story, but gameplay was solid, graphics was solid, the music was okay. I don't think this game is for everybody though. I think this game is for fans of the series, and if you're a diehard fan of the series, you already have this game, right? This review is super fucking late. If you don't have this game already and you're kind of on the fence about it, I would just recommend you watch it. Watch a streamer do it, watch YouTube playthrough on it, but I wouldn't get it if you don't already have it. I got it because I am a big super mega fan of the series, but that is what it is. Okay, what are your thoughts? What would you change about the story? How would you rearrange it? Comment below your thoughts. I would love to read them. I would love to get to know your story ideas. Okay, so that's really about all I have to say for this review. You have my recommendation. I would stream it unless you're a super big mega fan of the series. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.